Leslie Winston, CEO and co-founder of Monocle. Monocle is a social e-reader that enables readers to connect organically while they're reading. So no pausing or switching apps while you're reading to connect with others. So what that means is you can leave a note while you're reading or discover someone else's note, and that serves as the foundation for meaningful human connection. So you can reply to that note, share it, or contribute to conversation outside of the book by sort of inviting other readers in, and really organically discovering or engaging with community. Monocle was founded in 2021. I was based in Cambridge, Massachusetts when I had the idea. And I was working as a product designer full time at a startup. So I designed a little prototype, shared it out with some friends and family members, and got a good response. And from them, just in terms of it being something that they could see themselves using. And obviously, as a reader, I saw myself using it. So that combined with the need for meaningful connection that fulfills like our inherent desire to connect with each other, and also is related to something that has enough content to constantly like stimulate what I feel like we have, which is like a just short attention span. Those reasons were like sufficient enough for me to be like, okay, this is the right idea, the right time, and I should be the one to do it. So it wasn't an idea that I thought too much about before. It was thought of during the pandemic. Actually, the specific story is that after George Floyd was murdered, there was a collective effort globally to understand race globally and also in America, policing in America, discrimination, institutional inequity. And the collective effort to me was leading a lot of people to sharing their thoughts and ideas like online and leading to meaningful conversation. So I was reading this book called History of the Black Dollar. The timing on reading it just felt right. I'd had the book for a while, but something about what was going on in the world just made me want to like pick it up and finish it. I was reading the book and I came across a passage about the Black Codes, which for anyone who will listen to this and might be interested in learning about it, it's a set of laws that were implemented in Washington, D.C. after Reconstruction that sought to re-enslave freed slaves. Anyways, it reminded me a lot of what was happening today. And I shared my thoughts from what I read online. So as a physical book, I highlighted the book, put the picture on my Instagram, and it led to some conversation. But, you know, within 30 minutes to an hour, it was gone, just like everything else. And in that moment, I was like, wow, I really wish my thought could be left in this book permanently. And I wonder what other readers of this book have thought about and what their experience is. And I wish there was a way for me to connect with them. And then I kind of like put two and two together. Like, what if these thoughts could, be permanently embedded within the book? That was sort of the initial conception of the idea. The biggest challenge we have, which is actually a great problem, is that we see so many ways in which reading could be used, social reading could be used to like improve experiences. So within the educational sector, reading has obviously been declining over the last decade or more. COVID had a huge impact on students' engagement, student outcomes, and ultimately continue to add fuel to the fire for people wanting remote, but also engaged learning experiences. So we see Monocle as being a tool that could be utilized in those spaces. So that's sort of one of the things that we're working through and working out. Obviously, AI has completely disrupted a lot of industries and led to the emergence of a lot of new products since ChatGPT was released. So looking at what role AI has in creating not only a more social reading experience, but an experience that allows you to go more deeply into any topic that you want, or to imagine any visual or text-based world that you want within sort of the experience that the author has already created. So those are two things we're exploring right now. Also really interested in what the future of the creator economy looks like. I think readers are ultimately the people who hold the power within the publishing space. Publishers look to readers to define what books should be published for the year, or what authors they should back, and who they should sell to. So given that readers really hold this power, it's to me important to be able to place that in their hands while they're reading. So what that might mean is, if you find a particular part of your book really interesting, you can leave a note and have that note shared, not only in the book, but externally. And if someone sees your note and is so compelling that it causes that person to buy the book, you should be able to be compensated for that purchase. That's just one way of thinking about how to align incentives for us with readers, and also bring the value that readers create for the reading community back to them. But more holistically, I think there's a big opportunity for the publishing space to be reimagined. Publishing companies, to me, represent an antiquated institution and industry that has kept out a lot of authors and storytellers from getting their word out there. And I think, given that readers really hold the power to funding these authors, or giving attention and time to these authors, if you can create a bridge to link readers directly with authors that are creating content that readers might be excited about, but that publishing companies don't necessarily immediately see the value in, then you can bypass a gatekeeper and enable stories to organically pop up and be supported by the people who are most excited about them. So speaking very high level, but I think the point there is really decentralization, really, of stories and access to having your word and ideas be spread. The first milestone that triggered me to focus full time on it was receiving some funding towards the end of the summer in 2021. I applied to an accelerator. It was called Next Cubed. Next Cube was the organization, and they launched an inaugural accelerator for HBCU led businesses. So I went to North Carolina A&T. It's an HBCU. And that was a program that I saw on LinkedIn from a friend who worked for the organization, and I applied for it. And when I got in, again, it was like the timing aligned with like the idea being something I believed in, and also something that felt necessary for society. So I was only given $10,000, which to me at the time was like so much money. And it was enough for me to be like, you know what? I quit my job. I think this is the right signal that I need to like focus on this. Months went by and I realized it was not nearly enough money. So I started like freelancing and stuff on the side to bankroll at least what I needed to bring a team on and pay the team and pay to grow the platform. So for about a year, we spent time building out a beta. So I built a team like towards the end of 2021. Um, Two co-founders were my friends Austin and Uthman. I both went to school with them. They studied computer science. I studied computer engineering. And then we brought on another person that had some experience working with e-readers in the past. And yeah, so try to build out this beta for a year. We did build a successful product in our eyes, something that was functional, was successful enough. So then we launched in early 2023 a private beta. We had gathered a wait list of about 2,500 readers leading up into this private beta. So the plan was to release it among the 2,500 readers. We tried to focus on readers who were a bit younger, that were reading digitally, that were in like book clubs or friend groups where they were discussing what they were reading. And around the time that I was ready to release, a lot of people had been telling me, which TikTok had been around for a while, but they've been telling me, Leslie, you need to get on TikTok. You need to share this online. And I had not been on TikTok at all. I hadn't even created an account before. But again, they kept saying it. So I was like, you know what? I will do a private release, but I'm also going to release it on TikTok as a way to like grow the virality around this release. And I did a post kind of describing our team story, how I had the idea, how we spent a year working on it, and we were so excited to release it to the reading community. And I asked people in the post if they wanted access to comment with two friends that they wanted to read with and to share the post. And our post ended up getting, I think, 10,000 shares and like 150,000 views. And so people were DMing us like, hey, we shared it, send us access, please. So I'm going through all these DMs. I'm super excited. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's like actually happening. So I'm going through all these DMs and sharing out access, which was like a test flight link. And when I did that, a lot of people took that test flight link and then started sending it to other people, which was great, but it ended up crashing our app. So the first 24 hours after we launched privately, the app went down just because one of the core services we use, one of Google's APIs, has a rate limit, Google Books, because typically most platforms built that use Google Books are not high volume applications. And we weren't expecting all of this use anyway. So that was like a super exciting signal to us because we're like, oh, wow, they broke it. This is great. So we ended up closing the beta then, and then re-inviting re-inviting a select segment of the thousands of readers that had initially got onto the platform. This time with the focus on people who were community leaders, like in the TikTok or book talk space, and also people who had been running online or in-person book clubs. So we ended up selecting 300 people where we could do a more focused test and really test out some of the core functionality and test some of the core assumptions, which were like, do people even want to leave notes with each other while they're reading? What's the optimal way to balance like a focused reading experience with a social reading experience? What's the best way to monetize? So yeah, we tested with those 300 users for about 3 months. And then we realized from their feedback that there was one major component of our reader that we wanted to rework and that seemed necessary to improve on before launching publicly. So we closed the beta, and now we've been working on ensuring that the reading experience is essentially just as good as or better than any other like competitor in the space. So Kindle, Apple Books is sort of like the benchmark for how we see a digital reading experience functioning. And then obviously adding the social layer on top, which again was functional, but ensuring like the quality of the reading experience is like really important to readers and to us. I think one thing that I will really take away is or was during the 3-month accelerator program for the semifinalists of Black Ambition. We were broken into pods and had mentors who facilitated um, business development, personal development, and strategy workshops. And one of the first things we did was help each other define and distinguish our personal vision from our company's vision. I think for me, and a lot of you can probably tell from what I've said so far, uh, a lot of the things that Monocle is and will become are things that are influenced by me. And therefore, I feel uh, truly connected to the platform. However, like as a business grows and scales and evolves, it's important that the values of that business are defined in a way that allows it to exist as a unique entity from any one individual. Um, so I think uh, in defining my own personal vision and the company's vision, I was able to gain better clarity on how I see Monocle evolving, given its role and responsibility to readers, to the reading community, to society. Whereas when I defined my own personal vision, I saw the importance of what my role can be in sort of building out Monocle, implementing product strategy, product features, and ultimately serving as a leader for the company and like the community that is supporting Monocle. So, for instance, my personal vision is that I'm Leslie. I'm a visionary thinker and user experience designer, and I'm here to build upon the progress of people who came before me. Whereas Monocle's sort of identifier and mission is their social reading platform, or Monocle is a social reading platform that merges the joy of reading with the power of community. And it does it by making notes shareable, but more importantly, this feature and experience is driven by the belief that knowledge is amplified when shared, and that we're seeking to create a connected and informed community of learners around the world to enrich the reading journey for all. So I think those things were like informed by what I believe, but I had to think really hard about if I wasn't CEO anymore, or this company was to be acquired, how would it still carry out the mission and operate in a way that is in alignment with the opportunity at hand that expands beyond like my individual problem that I faced when I had the idea. Definitely don't give up. I applied 3 times. So this is my third time applying. And actually, when the application was due this third time around, I was almost like, you know what? I'm so tired of applying this stuff. I'm not even going to do it. But I did it, and I submitted like right before the deadline. But that would definitely be one piece of advice. Another piece of advice, I had pitched in front of a decent sized audience a few times in the past. And this time when I pitched, I always, rehearse my script, ensure that I am remembering it and reciting it to the best of my ability with as much conviction as I can. But pitching in front of people is nerve wracking. I get nervous. You get sweaty palms, everything. Knees get weak. And this time we had Mario Armstrong, who's like a TV personality and reporter, give us give us a crash course on public speaking. And one of the things that he really challenged us to do was, instead of telling yourself or telling other people, hey, you're nervous, which is often an excuse for, not an excuse, but it's a way of asking for grace from other people. Like, hey, everybody, I'm nervous, don't hold me to, a standard that's so high that you'll see fault in me missing a word or tripping up over something. Instead, just say you're excited. Talk about how excited you are, because a lot of the times the nervousness is just coming from an overwhelming and unfamiliar sense of energy about something that we haven't done before. Say you're excited, and then leading up to the pitch or presentation, focus in on not you and what you need to do, but like focus in on who you're doing it for. So in my case, I thought a lot about like who I'm doing it for, the reading communities, readers, my family, uh, society, and like how important it is for me to connect with them while I'm on stage and have people's attention. And I felt like that made me much less conscious of like my own internal anxiety and more focused on truly trying to just connect with the crowd and the people that I'm looking to serve, which really helped and I guess paid off in the end. So I mean, I felt like it was a good experience, applying. I was able to like save my answers, come back and revisit them. Um, this time in the third time around, the judges provided feedback. I overall thought the application process went smooth. So